Y'all, what is wrong with these women? Like, it's getting really sad and scary out here for children. Hey y'all, it's your girl Mariah Sincere, and I am back with another lunch hour. I know it is 2:30 where I'm at. I know that's a little late for lunch, but it's lunch somewhere in the United States or around the world. If you are new to my channel, welcome. I am a self-love coach who specializes in helping people radically transform their lives through one-on-one training. I have been through it all: toxic relationships, traumatic childhood, jobs that I hated, a life that I hated. But when I decide that I want to get it together and do something different, I'm able to do that. And I'm actually coming at y'all live from the beautiful city of Medellin, Colombia, because 6 months ago I decided I wanted to move out of the United States. So if you need that type of help, counseling, or training, hit me up at thepassportsis@gmail.com. I got you. So I'm just going to wait for people to come on in. We have a couple things to discuss today. I'm not going to be on here super long, like maybe 45 minutes, but I want to give y'all a little update on the Diddy case. I also want to talk to y'all about these, U.S. missiles that hit Russia. Are we on the brink of World War III? And also, I wanted to talk about this mom who cooked her 2 children in the oven. What is wrong with these people? So, anyways, I'm just going to give people some time to get in. Let me send out a text message saying I'm live. Oops, child, don't do that. Y'all know YouTube be tripping with the copyright. Not a 73-year-old woman was attacked by her own pit bull. Oh no. See, that's why I don't do pets. I'm sorry. I definitely don't do those pit bulls. If I have a pet, the pet has to be like little. The dog has to be like, I would prefer a teacup, but it got to be something that's all bark and no bite. And that's why I try to tell my daughter, quit running up on people's pets out here. She quick to try to run up and touch somebody's pet. Baby, that's an animal at the end of the day. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Let me talk about these Russian missile attacks first. I don't need these. Again, if you're coming in, hit the like button. I'm going to pull this up while I wait. Again, if you are just now coming in, hit the like button. That lets people know that I'm on live. I'm about to get started with the content. Here we go. Okay. Hey, Jamal. Good afternoon. How are you today? Thank you. Jamal, I thought you commented yesterday. I feel like I remember speaking to you yesterday. Thank you for coming. I could have swore you commented yesterday. Okay, guys. Hey Olivia, good afternoon, y'all. Look, I was saying earlier, it's lunch somewhere. I'm gonna still come on here and do this live, y'all. Cause what's going on is I'm trying to, cause y'all know I start work at 4 a.m. and I finish around 9. And then I try to go ahead and get to the gym, because after I get on live and I take my daughter to soccer practice and all that, I don't want to work out. I want to chill. I want like the second half of my day to just be me coming home and cooking and things like that. Okay, guys. So we are going to take a trip to the Cartier family's page. And they were basically talking about how we actually did, well, not we, but the Ukraine actually did go ahead and use the missiles that we equipped them with to, strike Russia in Russian territory. Because that's the big difference here, guys. I mean, they've been using like weapons that they've been supplied through NATO to fight Russia, but it's all been within Ukrainian territory, right? Once those weapons go into Russian territory, it's like it opens Pandora's box, right? Technically speaking, Russia could, if Russia wanted to declare war on the United States because they gave weapons to Ukraine that hit their people on their territory, they could, because technically speaking, we're jumping in something that's not our business. Okay. Girl, yes. Yes. Biden made a huge blunder. I don't think it was a blunder. I think that this is very much on purpose. I don't think that Biden is doing this by himself. I think he's just the patsy at this point. But I think everybody who was counting on Kamala Harris, that uniparty. Y'all know the forever people in Congress who have all this money invested into war, invested into companies that do, war contracting. That's a huge way that they launder money. So a lot of them thought that they were going to go ahead and get Kamala Harris in office and that they'd have like they'd have that whole term to go ahead and escalate this war. But now she's on her way out. Trump has been talking peace. So they feel like we got to hurry up and speed up the process. So again, guys, if y'all are just now coming in, hit the like button. I'm going to go ahead and share this and get started on the videos. What's really scary about this, before I share this, is y'all know I taught U.S. history in the United States. I had a social studies certification. So I taught U.S. history to my 11th graders last year. And, most of them, they are, first of all, y'all know they reinstated the draft this past year. And most of my kids are, they were 16, 17. I had some 18-year-olds. And a lot of the times they would kind of blow off the things I was talking about in history. But when I got to explaining to them, hey, the draft got reinstated. The boys, y'all are almost of military age. It would get serious and they thought I was trying to scare them. But no, that wasn't the case. I taught both of those world wars. And I think a lot of the times we look at things like war as like one day we're not at war and then suddenly we are. And it's a slow buildup. These wars, these world wars take years before they just explode. At first, it's a lot of slow moving parts and things kind of happening simultaneously, but there's a buildup. So I was explaining to them it's very possible that we'll be in World War III. The difference is now we have these nuclear weapons, and thank God Donald Trump got elected. And I'm going to show y'all some videos of him saying we need to put a stop to this, right? It's so crazy how much the Democratic Party has switched. Our whole mentality now is we got to go to war because Russia bad and Ukrainians are losing their lives, but we instigated that whole situation. So let me share my screen. Okay, let me see what y'all talking about before I get to talking. The deep state, shadow government, military industrial complex. Donald Trump made a video addressing them, right? Directly addressing them. What do you think about the cabinet picks? So far, so good. To be honest, like, for example, the Secretary of Education, I saw that he just picked one. That is one that I want to do some more research on because I don't know her like that, you know? Hey, what's up, Estelle? What's up? Good to see you, brother. Some of them, others I don't. I like Marco as I don't like Linda as education entertaining term though. Okay. Yeah, that's the fact. I don't know her like that. But y'all know my stance. I believe as a teacher, and I didn't until I actually worked in the school system and I made a video about why I quit teaching. For anybody who wants to know why it's worse than what you all think, I personally feel like the Department of Education should be dismantled. I didn't feel that way before I was a teacher, but it should be dismantled. And education should be left up to local municipalities. And I know y'all are going to say, well, you know, what about special education students and things of that nature? Those children aren't getting service. I promise you, they're not. They're not. They're getting serviced on the paperwork, but in terms of like the day to day and what public schools can effectively provide, they're not getting service. They're better off with local municipalities handling it and, you know, having an opportunity for qualified people to be able to come teach it. But now they're just kind of throwing these kids in class with everybody else and they're drowning. They're getting left behind, but on paper, passed along. Okay, I'm sorry. Yes. Where is Skinny Boy? He might not come today. He might not come. Let's get started and see if he hops on in. Oh, y'all, I'm not paying for a YouTube subscription. I'm sorry. I'm not doing it. Like, I have like $100 worth of subscription. I moved to Colombia so I can save money, baby. I'm not paying for.
Are they mad at me? Do they not like me anymore? I'm scared to ask for reassurance and fear that I'm going to look too mean.
Up in there, you go take care of business.
Bear, we will avoid it. Biden. A global conflict between nuclear armed powers would mean death and destruction on a scale unmatched in human history. It would be nuclear Armageddon. Nothing is more important than avoiding that nightmare. We will avoid it, but we need new leadership. Every day this proxy battle in Ukraine continues, we risk global war. We must be absolutely clear that our objective is to immediately have a total cessation of hostilities. All shooting has to stop. This is the central issue. We need peace without delay. In addition, there must also be a complete commitment to dismantling the entire globalist neocon establishment that is perpetually dragging us into endless wars, pretending to fight for freedom and democracy abroad.
You know, I was talking to a girlfriend of mine, like, and we disagree. She does not like Donald Trump. And I remember her saying there's a reason why his own party doesn't like him. And I don't think she understood that it matters who don't like him in the party. Because yes, those establishment Republicans that have money invested in these wars, they don't like him. They don't like him, same as establishment Democrats don't like him, you know? So people who have money tied up in war, and you have a president campaigning, not only on ending war, but acknowledging the deep state, like publicly doing this, whereas we haven't seen any other candidate do that before. Yes, he's gonna create enemies on both sides. Because there's money involved in the situation. OMG, why no YouTubers get that commercial free? Because it's expensive. It's like, what, $15 a month? You got to think, like, I already have like 10 different subscriptions. Like, hell no. YouTube can really, like, quit playing with me. Donald Trump was a Democrat in the past. Yes, exactly. And I don't think, he switched before. Like, at one point in the past, he was a Republican. He switched to the Democratic Party. People with money, they tend to go where it's making sense for them at the time, to be honest, right? But if you are truly if you're truly liberal at heart, like if you're truly a leftist at heart, and it's not about party loyalty, you know, your stance is always going to be anti-war. That don't change just because the party's politics have decided to change. And that's why a lot of people who have left the Democratic Party are saying the left left me. I didn't want to leave. They left me. They started wilding and acting goofy and stuff, publicly supporting things that we, 10 years ago did not publicly support. And let me be clear, publicly support, because there's always been that part of the Democratic Party that would vote in favor of these wars, but they were doing it behind the scenes. And at least people who voted for the Democratic Party could at least feel like they were voting for a party that was anti-war, and now they're just publicly pro-war. And their whole thing is like, oh, we got to save the Ukrainians from Russia. And it's like, no, actually more of them are getting unalived the longer that we arm the Ukraine. That is not a war that they can win. They are going to have to come up off of some territory. I don't think Putin even wants the whole Ukraine. All they have to do is give up a few areas, give it up. And y'all got to understand, the Ukraine was a part of the USSR anyway. They would have never invaded to begin with if the Ukrainian government wasn't talking to the United States about joining NATO. And Russia warned them for years, quit doing that. Okay, if y'all keep on with this, we are going to invade, because we don't want a country that is a part of NATO right on our borders. Quit doing it. Like years they warned it. Okay, so as far as I'm concerned, that's their fault. That's their fault. They let the United States play them. They didn't hedge their bets correctly. So we're not obligated as the American public is not obligated to fund this war. And our government needs to quit doing stuff that we didn't give them permission to do. Because, let me know in the chat, as an American citizen, were any of y'all just desperate and begging for the Ukraine to join NATO? Is that something that y'all asked our government to do? Was that on the agenda when you voted for the Biden administration? Was that a conversation we were having? I believe not. Yes, the party is definitely different than it was in the 90s. Yeah, it's complete clownery. Obama, Biden admin fear is that if they allow that, they will take Slovenia, Slovakia, and Czech Republic, all of which used to be USSR, and whom are NATO. I don't think that they will. Okay, I'm saying this as somebody who is like a Russian history enthusiast. Russia has never had a desire to be an empire. And I know that sounds a little odd to people because they used to be, the USSR. But y'all have to understand, a lot of that was defense. A lot of those countries were brought into the USSR as a buffer zone because we didn't like that their czar got toppled. So before World War II, Russia had been invaded by 4 different countries, right? And it was all because they decided they wanted to overthrow their government and have a communist revolution within their country. And so other countries did not want that to spread. The United States invaded Russia. This was all before World War II. So Russia has this mentality of we want buffer zones at that time. I think if we would stop with the NATO stuff, they would not even try to expand, right? They didn't want to with Ukraine. So they don't want NATO on their borders, and they have paranoia because they've been invaded so much. And that's the part the American people don't understand. We won't just let them be over there. But that's the thing. There would be no need for them to form, and y'all gotta understand, a lot of this is over oil too. But there would be no need for them to form an alliance if we stayed at that business over there. Y'all understand? I feel like there's no need for NATO now. The Cold War is over. Russia, honestly and truly, doesn't have imperialistic desires. They've been invaded more than they tried to invade others. So, yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I think if NATO disbanded and if we just cooled it, I don't think Russia would try to remake the Soviet Union. I really don't. Okay, let's continue.
While they turn us into a third world country and a third world dictatorship right here at home. The State Department, the defense bureaucracy, the intelligence services, and all of the rest need to be completely overhauled and reconstituted to fire the deep staters and put America first. We have to put America first. Finally, we have to finish the process we began under my administration of fundamentally reevaluating NATO's purpose and NATO's mission. Our foreign policy establishment keeps trying to pull the world into conflict with a nuclear-armed Russia based on the lie that Russia represents our greatest threat. But the greatest threat to Western civilization today is not Russia. It's probably, more than anything else, ourselves and some of the horrible USA-hating people that represent us. Yeah. It's the abolition of our national borders. It's the failure to police our own cities. It's the destruction of the rule of law from within. It's the collapse of the nuclear family and fertility rates like nobody can believe is happening. It's the Marxists who would have us become a godless nation worshiping at the altar of race and gender and environment. And it's the globalist class that has made us totally dependent on China and other foreign countries that basically hate us. These globalists want to squander all of America's.
Y'all know what's crazy? When I taught my kids American history and the Industrial Revolution, we used to be what China is today. The United States used to produce everything, and China was slow in their Industrial Revolution, and we used to sell them everything, right? And that's part of the reason why we had all that money in the early 1920s and the roaring 20s, right? And we just had such a boom in the economy. And now it's like completely reversed. Everybody makes money off of us. We don't produce much. Ukraine is the hub of the international black market. Okay. You have to explain it to me. These gentlemen look worried watching this video. Yeah, they're always covering these topics. If you don't watch them, I love these men. These are all, I think they're all brothers or cousins. But they cover politics, and I like it because they cover politics as like the average American, not necessarily Americans who do deep dives into politics or somebody who does politics for a living. But it's good to hear the perspective of the average person who is keeping up with this information. Ukrainian women are some of the most trafficked women in the world, and that's before the war. Oh, yes, I have heard about that, and them coming through in these containers at the shipping docks. Trump snapped. Yeah. Oh, yeah, he snapped. Now, y'all, all of these videos that y'all are seeing now that are just now becoming popular, I believe he put these out on Truth Social. This was before he got elected, though. So people want to, know why. Oh, why they vote for him? He was the only candidate talking like this. Was Kamala Harris talking like this? No.
The strength, blood, and treasure, chasing monsters and phantoms overseas while keeping us distracted from the havoc they're creating right here at home. These forces are doing more damage to America than Russia and China could ever have dreamed. Evicting this sick and corrupt establishment is the monumental task for the next president. And I am the only one who can do it. I'm the only one that can get the job done. I know exactly what has to be done.
Ukraine fired 6.
Now, I don't know if he's the only one that can get the job done, but I certainly know he was the only one even offering to get the job done. Everybody else just pretends that it doesn't exist, besides Bernie Sanders, right? But, you know, he was never going to be president because the Democrats weren't going to allow it. So, and even Bernie didn't take it as far as Trump is taking it in terms of acknowledging that this stuff is real and trying to expose it.
U.S. made missiles here at Russia's Bryansk region. Russia's defense ministry just releasing that information days after U.S. President Biden eased those restrictions on Ukrainian use of American-made weapons in the war that is now marking its 1,000th day. Ukraine claimed it hit a military weapons depot there in the middle of the night, though it didn't specify what weapons it actually used. The Ukrainian General Staff said that multiple explosions and detonations were heard in that targeted area. And in a statement carried by Russian news agencies, the Russian Defense Ministry said the military shot down 5 of those Army tactical missile systems and damaged another. The fragments fell on the territory of an unspecified military facility. That's again, according to Russia's ministry. The falling debris sparking a fire, but did not inflict any danger or any casualties. Neither side's claims could be independently verified by the Associated Press. The announcement came after Biden.
Well, you know, everybody's going to try to save face. Hey, Skinny, we were just talking about you. Good to see you here, brother. Again, if y'all are just now coming in, hit that like button, y'all. That helps people know that I'm on live. Ukraine is Russia's cash cow. They need Ukraine in line. It seems like both the United States and Russia have economic interests. Like from what I've seen, we do a lot of money laundering through the Ukraine. Well, not we, you know, but the people that's making the money do a lot of money laundering. It's been alleged that a lot of that money that we're sending over there for that war is not necessarily going toward the war effort, that it's being laundered. So, you know, they're both going to try to save face. Personally, you know, I believe Russia does kind of have the capabilities to deter some of these missiles if they want to, you know. But with that said, it's not even about that at this point. It's just like my whole thing is I feel like the Ukraine is trying to drag us into a world war because they know they cannot win this by themselves, right? It's like they're banking on the entire world being in war. I'm going to go to Kim Iverson's channel because she was talking about how like they're literally right now preparing to go to war in Europe. It's no longer just a Ukraine versus Russia thing. Everybody is kind of rallying the troops right now. So it's going to take a leader coming in and de-escalating this as quickly as possible. You know, I'm hoping that Trump is on the phone with Putin like every day, like, man, they trying to bait you. They you see what they trying to do, man. Don't let them tear us apart. You know, for real.
Biden did authorize Ukraine to use those U.S. supplied missiles to strike deeper inside Russia, easing limitations on the longer range weapons after Russia deployed thousands of North Korean troops in the conflict. Earlier on Tuesday, Ukrainian officials reported a third Russian strike in 3 days on a civilian residential area in Ukraine that killed at least 12 people. That includes a child. The strike by a drone in a region there late Monday hit a dormitory of an educational facility and wounded 11 other people.
This is the Cartier family. Cartier family spelled Cartier. Cartier family. So, D-Mally, you're saying the people of Ukraine are poor, making it susceptible to participate in shady activities. I believe it. That's just like here in Colombia. I was talking with a friend about that, how like in a lot of these countries where they experience extreme poverty, the things that like make us gasp, like, oh my God, you're selling your daughter for smegs. That's like that don't really. It's just the way of life for a lot of people that live in extreme poverty. It's like nothing. That's just the thing that you do.
People, including 2 children, adding that more people could be trapped under the rubble. Ukrainian civilians have repeatedly been clobbered by Russian drones and missiles during this war, while on the battlefield, it's under severe Russian pressure at places on about a 600-mile front line where its army is stretched thin against a bigger adversary.
Why they keep specifying
This
U.S.
gotta
made?
stop.
That's
This
what
gotta
making
get
me more
this
hot
in.
than the media is specifying that.
It is
Because
U.S.
you
made.
gotta realize that we funded that.
business.
We know we
gave that
funded
to
them, but why I can't just like it's like it feel like you're boosting you like
He has
it's
to.
like,
I mean, everybody knows. I mean, everybody knows. You know, so
Do that. That's what really would have happened. He not boosting it. That's what happened.
I know that's what happened, but it's like think about another country. Goddamn Americans.
I'm pretty sure
Well,
he
they-
would specify where those rockets came from.
We gotta-
Remember,
we-
we
Everybody
have
with
to do that.
with the Israel Hamas, everybody was mad at Iran because Iran was funding Hamas.
and we unfroze that money.
Yeah,
So we know exactly who. Well, Iran. Other than that, who gave Iran the missiles? Then you know.
they got
They got missiles. They got money.
They were saying Russia.
They did say that.
They
though.
did. They were
So I
speculating
didn't know
that. That
say
wasn't
Russia
confirmed.
made missiles.
That
That's
wasn't,
what
that
I
wasn't
evidence.
confirmed. That was speculation.
Oh, I said I don't know, bro. I'm probably tripping for saying that. I just feel like you should have said Biden gave Zelensky the right away to shoot missiles. Why I just gotta just specify U.S. made missiles? It just I don't know. I'm just tripping. Probably.
I mean, I see why he's saying that because the mentality is honestly and truly, if y'all go abroad, for people who live in countries where the attitudes are favorable towards American citizens, they do blame us. They feel like we have the government that we voted in. And because now here's the thing that trips me out. They will have corrupt governments in their own countries and not do shit about it. But when it comes to us Americans, we're supposed to go to war with our government. Like, that's what they think. That's what they literally say. Like, why don't y'all overthrow the government? Y'all see them doing all this stuff all around the world. And it's like, well, why don't you overthrow your corrupt government? So you're not doing it, but you expect the American people to do it, right? And a part of me does kind of, because yes, we do have a huge part of the country who is just willingly ignores this stuff, even when it's presented to them in their face. We have a huge part of the country that is willingly delusional. So I understand that, but in mass, most of the American people don't even know what's happening with foreign policy, but we get blamed nevertheless.
No, you dragging it, bro. Because I mean, that's actually what the American people need to hear. That's what
the truth.
Yeah.
It is the truth.
This is definitely on this administration, and this, bro, it's so much that Trump said that pissed me off because it's like, okay, the neocon stuff. They put that on the Republicans, but y'all are actually the
Turn
real
around doing
neocons, guys. You're claiming that you're fighting for you. We're fighting for Ukraine. I mean, you said we got it's a resource out there that we need.
I mean, to be clear, there are warmongers in the Republican Party. So I mean, it wasn't inaccurate when we were saying that the Republican Party were warmongers. The thing is, though, so many people from the left or people who were independent voters have been forced to infiltrate the Republican Party at this point that it's becoming a whole new party. Like, we're taking their party over, and there's a faction of the party that doesn't like that. From Cali and being in Europe where there is some money, they're more susceptible to their black market being funded. Okay. All right. So I'm going to hop on over to, give me a second. I'm going to hop over to, did I not say that? What the hell? I don't think I saved it, but basically Russia was saying that they now, since those missiles have been used, they consider this to be a new phase in the war. Okay, it's like we're entering a new chapter. Hopefully Trump can de-escalate the situation. I'm going to hop over to Kim Iverson's channel. If y'all don't watch her, you absolutely should. She's one of the best in independent media to do it. She's been on here for a long time. She used to be on The Hill. She left the Hill because they prevented her from doing an interview with somebody because they didn't want her to ask tough questions. This was all during COVID. Give me a second. Oh, it was this video. I love her channel. I'm happy I get to introduce y'all to her if you don't watch her already.
Oh, thank you guys so much for being here today. Sorry, we're a little bit late. We just, of course, we're having technical problems like we've had. If they don't go after people who spew what they call anti-Semitism, who gets to say what anti-Semitism is? Also, Oklahoma has announced that they're going to be putting Bibles in the classrooms. Kind of think that might be against the Constitution, but we'll talk about that. Also, some like Mossad or Zionists or Israel, I'm not sure exactly. They might even be Mossad term as president back in 2016 to 2020. Marco Rubio was in the middle to the bottom of senators who voted alongside Trump's agenda. So whatever Trump wanted, Marco Rubio was not a Trump loyalist or somebody who voted alongside Trump. In fact, he was on the lower echelon when it comes to GOP senators. So why would he select this guy? Unlike Ted Cruz, for example, who voted for practically everything Donald Trump wanted. Why not make Ted Cruz your Secretary of State? Why Marco Rubio? And I kind of wonder if this is a real strategy. One of the things that Trump said is that he liked having John Bolton standing next to him because John Bolton was so crazy. Everybody knew John Bolton was crazy, and he also had never met a war or regime change he didn't like. And so people were worried that John Bolton was whispering in Trump's ear to start a war. So even though Trump has this anti-war rhetoric, which is ultimately what he won on, one of the reasons he won, I shouldn't say it's ultimately the reason he won. I think it's a big reason why he won, but I think the economy and immigration were number 1 and 2. But John Bolton standing there made everybody nervous. And I think Marco Rubio as Secretary of State, I think it might have been one of two things. One, I think it makes everybody nervous that he's got this guy who just loves war. I mean, Marco Rubio, back when he's one of the goriest, most outwardly lovers of war. When they were when everybody in government, both on the left and the right, was trying to oust Maduro from Venezuela and install Juan Guaido, Marco Rubio's Twitter account, I think it might be other people in that he really wanted to get. So there's a possibility that this is a trade. Another thing to keep in mind with Marco Rubio, because I absolutely hate this pick for Secretary of State, but now Marco Rubio works for Trump. When he was a senator, he didn't work for Trump. The Senate and Congress, the Senate and the House, Congress together is an equal branch of government. They don't work for the president. They don't have to do what the president says. They can override him just like he can override them. They're an equal branch of government. But now Marco Rubio is going to be working for Donald Trump. I find that really interesting. That's a interesting strategy. So now you can really control the guy. Before, when he was in the Senate and he was voting against you all the time, you couldn't control him. But now he's your guy. He has to do what you say. I mean, yeah, Marco Rubio is going to be doing all of these prestigious meetings and going around the world and saying he's Secretary of State of the United States, but he doesn't have any real power. All of that comes down to Trump. Trump will make the ultimate decisions, and he directs that department. So, I don't like that stuff that we found all over the internet.
I'm sorry, guys. I missed my place. I was a little bit confused by that Secretary of State pick as well. Now, people say that Marco Rubio is really adept on foreign policy. And a lot of people thought that it was because, he's Hispanic as well, which I don't know. To me, Trump doesn't seem like the type that would hire somebody based on race. They probably hire him. He seems like the type that would hire for a good reason. And now that she says this, that makes sense. Like, pull the guy out the Senate and you can control him. Because who's going to say no? Like, even if you don't like the dude, who's going to say no to Secretary of State? Nobody. Okay. So that is actually a good strategy. Okay. I really don't have time to get into this Y'all go look at her on your own because I want to move on. And I want to talk about this crazy lady who cooked her kids. Biden was caught smuggling money and laundering. I feel like they are funding the conflict to cover up the many scandals connected to Biden's administration. Oh, facts. There's definitely money laundering going on. I have no doubt about that. Guys, if you're just now coming in, hit the like button. That's what we said about Obama and that he'll make the decision and the cabinet won't influence him. I think that Obama and Trump are two completely different candidates, because Trump has come out and talked about how he got in there and all these shady people were trying to influence him and give him all this bad information. Also, Obama wasn't running on exposing the government. Now he vaguely said, oh, we're going to be more transparent, but he wasn't sitting up here talking about deep state, drain the swamp, shutting down these government agencies, creating a Doge. You get what I'm trying to say? So I don't think Marco Rubio will have any influence on Donald Trump. I do see this being strategic for him, to me, this is a different kind of president. I'm not saying he's God. I'm not saying he's going to get in there and do everything that he said that he was going to do. I don't even know if they will let him do everything he said he's going to do, right? But what I will say is he has brought some conversations to the forefront that no other candidate in recent American history has brought to the forefront. He's been willing to expose some things that, people would have called you a conspiracy theorist for talking about these things, and still do, for talking about these things, 4 or 8 years ago. When we all know, like people like us who, watch independent news and do our research, we know about the deep state. We know this man isn't lying. He's just talking about something that has been covered up, right? But it's just very interesting because we thought being against the Bush admin and him beating Hillary was draining the swamp. I honestly and truly, I don't think he knew. So y'all should watch that interview he did with Joe Rogan in its entirety, if you haven't, because he kind of explains how it's kind of like one thing to talk about it, but then when you get in there, it's way different than what you thought it was going to be, right? So I think he's coming into this with way more experience. He's moving like he's coming into this with way more experience, right? He's just based on a lot of his cabinet picks, him deciding not to bring Mike Pompeo and Nikki Haley into his administration. So I think this is very much a playing chess kind of thing, but we have to see. That's the thing. We have to see it pan out. I'm going to move on from that, guys. So I want to talk about this abominable human being who absolutely needs to be it's so evil for me to say what I think needs to be done to her. I don't want to say it because then y'all are going to think I'm crazy. But this woman right here, this says Atlanta mom sentenced for allegedly burning toddler sons to death in oven and sending the video to their dad. So it sounds like a crazy hoe got mad because the dad either didn't want her or she felt like he wasn't doing his part, and she decided she wanted to cook her kids to get back at the dad. It says Lamora Williams has been sentenced after allegedly killing her 1-year-old son, Jakarta Penn, and 2-year-old son, Keontae Penn, by burning them in an oven and sending the footage to their father. And the crazy thing is, I'm going to go on TikTok. Listen to this 911 call that this psychopath made trying to cover herself. Okay, hold on.
Ma'am, I have a question, and this is a serious matter. I just left my cousin in the house with my kids. She just left my kids in the house when I came back from work, and two of my kids are dead. What do I got to do? They dead. She left them dead in the house.
So she trying to make it seem like she left the kids with a cousin. Which cousin were you gonna pin it on? Because you have to produce said cousin. Because when they investigate, there has to be a cousin that was watching your kids. So which cousin were you gonna pin it on, ma'am? And she's saying the cousin left and now the kids are unalive. Okay, so the kids hopped in the oven of their own accord, and then I guess the kid that didn't get in the oven turned the oven on. Actually, I could see that happening. I could see that happening, but still.
Are they still?
Oh, okay, ma'am. Where are you now?
I'm in my house. She left my door open. My baby boy, my oldest baby boy, is the only one that's here. Only one that's alive. She left them in the house by themselves. She left them in here, and they knocked the stove. Can you listen? When I came in, the stove was laying on my friend. I don't know what to do. I just came home to work from this, and she just left my baby still.
Okay, ma'am. I'm gonna get EMS. And I'm gonna get police and fire at the location. Can you tell me where you're located?
Okay, so who was she gonna blame it on? Was she gonna blame it on the cousin? Was she gonna blame it on the older son who was still alive? Like, who was she gonna blame it on? I'm trying to figure it out.
Ma'am, I can't even talk. This is so serious. I'm so scared. I don't want to get locked up because I was at work.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, as a mother, if I come home and I find my kid in the oven and I genuinely didn't do it, my first thought is not gonna be, I don't want to get locked up because I was at work. I probably I would probably be so incoherent. Somebody like the neighbors would have to come help me call the police. I would lose my mind if I came home and found my daughter like that. Like, that's how you know this is a psycho.
I understand that you're scared. I completely understand, but I need to get some help out there to you now. Can you tell me where you're located?
I understand it, but can you please help me? Like, can you please tell me, like, I don't want to get locked up because this is not my fault. I had just came home from work. I just came home from work.
Ma'am, the first thing that I need to do is get some help out there to you. I understand that you're upset and you're scared.
Right. It's like, girl, you sound guilty. This woman is trying to get help to you, and you're trying to give yourself an alibi. You're trying to talk your way out of the situation. So it's giving guilty, period. And as Bill was saying, he was hoping the woman was not black. Man, I'm seeing this a lot. And I don't know if it's like a black woman thing. I really don't think it is. I think people are losing their damn minds because it's so much struggle in the United States. You got these parents who are stressed out because they're having to try to take care of these kids when they're barely mentally taking care of themselves. And people are out here freaking losing it. It's so crazy because I would talk to a couple of Colombians and they say oh, the suicide rate is high over there, right? And I'm like, dang, that's what we known for. People know us to be the country of mentally unstable people.
In here, Dad, it's no way in the fuck. She left my baby dead.
Okay.
And I don't have no way to reach her.
If you're not sure, if you were at work, ma'am, listen to me. If you were at work while this happened, then the responsibility is going to fall on your sister. That's who you left them with, okay? Okay, hold on one moment. I'm going to also get EMS on the line as well, okay? Atlanta 911.
Ma'am.
Right.
I have a question, and this is a serious matter. I just left my cousin in the house with my kids.
And it's like even the way she explained it, I have a question. What are you asking? Yesterday, ambulance, somebody, I have a question? What, are you serious? It's terrible. And I've been seeing this so much, y'all, with these mothers losing their mind. And my whole thing is people were talking about, I saw a young mother of 2 kids and she unalived herself. But she was posting Facebook. She was making Facebook posts about it being so hard to take care of her kids. And she was crying out for help, and people talked bad about her and said she was selfish for leaving her kids. But honestly and truly, I respect that way more than you unaliving your kids. And this is the problem with women who are so male identified. Let's talk about it. Because she sent the video to the kid's father, right? So it's like you were trying to hurt him. You're so focused on this man that you would unalive your children over some peen. And I wonder what it was in behind. Did he not make his child support payment on time? Did he got a new girlfriend? He ignoring her? Like, what is it? Because whatever it is, it's not worth it. And that's why, like, women need to, like, really focus on themselves. Like, women need to really focus on themselves, especially if you're already stressed. I'm not saying that you can't date. I'm not saying that you can't like men, but a lot of women don't have their mind right enough to be trying to raise children and deal with men. You know, it's not working out for a lot of these women out here. I mean, because this is a really extreme scenario, but I mean, in a more like in a lesser infraction, you have women who are not taking care of their kids the way they're supposed to because they're running in behind these men. So it's not, women just need to focus on themselves for a while. They've been better off in child services, and I hate that system. Absolutely. And I hate it too. I was in that system. They wouldn't have got baked in the oven, you know, stuff like that happens in child services. Like, I've known plenty of kids who got injured or babies who got unalived in child services, but it was never like malicious. So, for example, I knew a family who the foster mom went out to go play dominoes, and one of the older kids got a little baby out the crib. And the sad thing was that the baby was supposed to go home the following week because the parents were on drugs, but they had actually worked their plan and did everything they were supposed to do to get both of their kids back. So the baby was supposed to go home the following week. One of the older kids got the baby out the crib and was just hugging the baby, fell asleep on the couch, and the baby was unalive. But it wasn't malicious. The foster parents still went to jail, though, because she wasn't home. She was playing cards. If she would have been in her bed asleep and the older kid would have came and got the baby and the same thing would have happened and she just didn't know, she wouldn't be in jail for it. This woman dropped out of kindergarten. Stop playing. For real? She really did? She dropped out of kindergarten? But yeah, it's really sad. Hold on, give me 1 second, y'all. Hold on. My bad, y'all. I had to tell my daughter to go put her soccer clothes on. We have to go to practice soon. Yeah, so it's really sad. It's really tragic. Unfortunately, I think we are going to see a lot more of these stories. I'm seeing them with more frequency. And again, I want to be very clear. This is not a Black woman thing. That's just the example I saw today. But people are like being really physically abusive towards their children, like selling their kid. I've seen multiple stories of I saw a white woman. I got to find that story. I saw a white woman who got arrested because she was trying to sell her kid. Like, I'm seeing people trying to sell their kids for smegs, for money, like truly crimes of poverty. No, she didn't. She went to Howard. Now I'm playing. You funny. Okay. The last story that I want to bring up before I have to get off of here, y'all, is Meek Mill, aka Mika Mill, baby. One thing he gonna do is he gonna speak up for his man. Okay, first of all, he gonna let it be known that that's his man. I see him commenting on so much stuff relating to Diddy, and honestly and truly, if I were a man and an audio tape like the one we heard about him getting that bussy bust down by Diddy, like if a tape got leaked like that, I would want to disassociate from that man. Like, and if it didn't happen, I would be like, y'all, that didn't happen. that wasn't me. And even if I had been friends with that man for 20 years behind the scenes, I would have to let him know, hey, dog, we can't, no, because I don't want people seeing me like this. Yeah, no. You know, but I feel like Meek personally has some money tied up in that situation. And I feel like, you know, Meek probably has the same sugar daddies that P. Diddy has. You know, that was a source of income from him. So I'm going to share this with y'all. It says Meek Mill wishes Diddy well while he's in jail. Here go Meek. They putting black men in jail off stories. Sir, we saw the video with Cassie. And why everybody got the same story? I wish Puff well. He's a black man. I hope he didn't do most of that ish they saying he did. Now, Mika, you was there. You was there. Stop playing. Stop playing, Mika. Why y'all so scared to talk? Y'all must got ish in the closet. My past the streets is nothing to hide. What y'all think about this? What do y'all think about this? Hey, Carlos, what's up? Y'all tell me, am I tripping? Am I tripping? Y'all let me know. Am I tripping? Should he be defending his friend? To me, that's his man, allegedly. But with y'all, like, y'all let me know, fellas, if an audio tape like that came out, and then on top of that, the video in the pool, and you had a best friend that you had been friends with for like 20 years, and an audio tape like that came out, let's say it wasn't you. How would you be handling this situation right now? Y'all tell me. This whole society is losing it. This is the 80s and 90s all over again. High crime, high inequality, drug epidemic, and people losing their minds. Facts, you didn't tell no lies. Baby oil gang member standing on business, but that's black excellence for you. Yes, and I'm tired of them bringing black people into this. Stop it. Stop. This is not a black issue. This is a rich ninjas who get their pussy bust wide open issue. This is a do anything for a dollar issue. The man just happens to be black. You know, there are some people, many people involved in the situation that happens to be black, but there are also people of other races. This is not a black issue. I want black people to stop bringing up black issues when we talk about P. Diddy. I really do. Meek Mildred, I'm so tired of people getting hypnotized by black and white. Like, yes, can we stop? And here's the thing, it's not just black people talking about this issue. Like, the whole dang country, it's P. Diddy. Like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like in terms of the culture, he's been in the game so long that he's now in the conversations of white people's mouth when we're talking about his crimes. But like, let's stop making this a black thing. Let's stop. This is a sick, rich ninja thing. Same way the whole Epstein thing is a sick, rich ninja thing. Okay. He said no Diddy gang earlier. I think he shook in trying to clean it up now. The best way that he can clean it up is to be quiet. Like, he won't let us forget, y'all. He keeps on wanting his name to be associated with P. Diddy publicly. He should just be quiet. That's it, just be quiet. People have short memories. People will at least stop talking about him if he quits making himself known, you know, or at the very least quit associating yourself with P. Diddy. But he cannot do that, y'all. Like, he's too emotionally invested. This is his man. He really want to be like Mariah the Scientist. Y'all know how Mariah the Scientist used to go on them interviews and talk about Young Thug all the time. And constantly, the only thing we heard, I'm not saying she, like, her career, she was doing good with the touring, but in terms of what the media focused on, it was that relationship. Meek wants that to be this way with Diddy. He just can't say it. We trying to let y'all know. Quit talking about my man. And he's gonna hold him down because that's his man and he's sticking beside him. Like, for real. The construct of black and white race is the matrix. We all American. Facts. And this is the reason why we can't win, and they sew up so much division. And my whole thing is, you know, everybody wants to talk about black people fought for civil rights and we fought for equality. Well, you fought for the equality to be what? Because if you wanted to be a separatist, then that's what you should have been fighting for. If you wanted to be a separatist, that's what you should have did. You should have got along with Malcolm X in the gang and went that right and demanded that we have our own separate piece of land in the United States. But that ain't what most people, black folks, want. We wanted to be a part of. We wanted to be integrated. Now that we integrated, y'all don't want to be integrated. Do you want to be American or not? Okay. That doesn't mean that we can't have our own culture within American society, but everything can't be about race. For example, you will see Italian people still like love their Italian culture, but they're not always bringing up Italian every time some type of social justice issue happens. It becomes American at this point. Y'all understand? Y'all don't see Chris Cuomo constantly talking about Italian. It's no, we're American at this point. I'm just saying. All freak meals. Stand by your man, girl. Facts. And I'm not mad at him because it worked out for Mariah. We thought Young Thug was going to go to jail. We really did. And now he's out in the free. So I feel like Meek is like, hey, I'm hedging my bets. I still want to get this money. Diddy might be holding him down from jail. So he might be trying to play it smart and show his public support. I understand. But you know, I hope it don't work out that way. Diddy need to be in jail. But okay, hold your man down, sis. Freak Mill, Baby Oil Gang, Lieutenant. Facts. Him and Stevie J. Matter of fact, I feel like one day we gonna see Meek Mill and Stevie J in a fight. Y'all know how when a man go to prison, all the side hoes get to fighting. You know, they be showing up at the court date, arguing, posting, making subliminal messages. Like, don't let Diddy die in prison. Mika and Stevie J gonna be at the funeral hopping in the casket. I promise you they are. Okay. Industry bunny hopping, store runner. He's a total dossier. Yeah, it's just, it's tragic. It's very tragic. He's come a long way, you know, from dreams and nightmares. Just completely different dude. I understand why Nicki left him. Okay. With that said, guys, I am done. I have to take my daughter to soccer practice, but I will holler at y'all tomorrow at the lunch hour. Thank you for everybody that showed up. Shout out to my Skinny, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Y'all have a good afternoon. Goodbye.